Hello, and welcome to the UnWokable podcast channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mark Owsley. I just wanted to jump on real quick and talk about the Oklahoma abortion law that Governor Stitt just signed. Generally, I just want to say this, I am pro-life, but I have concerns here. If you know the history behind Roe versus Wade and how that eventually led to the Supreme Court granting that right in full across the United States, you know that Roe, that case was groomed over a portion of years from a case in Texas and Texas at that point had maybe the strictest abortion laws in the country. And my concern here lies in some personal experience. Over the last few months, I've been noticing a disturbing trend when it comes to the way that the Oklahoma legislature writes bills. For example, the Save the Women's Sports Act. The Save the Women's Sports Act actually allows for the very thing that it claims to disallow. That's a concern. There's also this the bill that they wrote with Zuckerbucks saying that, that we're not going to allow Zuckerbucks coming in, outside influence money. But yet there's a mechanism in that bill that allows for the exact thing it claims to prohibit. So my concern here is twofold. One, that the bill is not written well. And I haven't read it yet, and so I will reserve that judgment, but that is based upon my experience with the bills I just mentioned. The second thing is, if you take the history of Roe into account, this bill banning abortion at conception seems to be low-hanging fruit for the left. It seems to be a ideological push, which, again, if you, I understand all of the religious arguments. I understand all of the pro-choice and conservative arguments for life beginning at conception. But life beginning at conception is not necessarily scientifically provable, okay? And regardless of your faith on the matter, there's no heartbeat yet, and I'm not trying to make the case for, I want everybody to understand this. I'm not trying to make the case that abortion should be legal. I'm trying to analyze this from the left standpoint. So they're going to come at it saying, okay, here, Casey made the viability argument. Well, viability is being moved back and back and back because of the advancement of science. But one thing you cannot do, even if we get incredibly advanced, is find a heartbeat at the moment of conception, because it's not there yet. So I don't want to expound on this too much. I just want to put out there that eventually there's going to be a left turn at the Supreme Court. Just the law of averages. We stay a country, the Supreme Court stays intact, which I'm hoping will happen. There will be a left court. And if that's 20 or 30 years from now, you're going to probably have, based upon what's happening in education and schools right now, you're probably going to have a more left-leaning or progressive or even a wokish electorate that's less informed, that's more influenced by social media, that's more influenced by these things. And so I think the right might be setting itself a trap here, because Governor Stitt has said that he was going to be the most pro-life governor. And the problem with that, okay, great, that's fine. But the problem is that I feel that he's doing some of these things because he's running for re-election, and he's running, at least in the primary coming up, against a guy who said that he would ban abortion on the first day. And this abortion at conception issue just seems to be low-hanging fruit for the left to grab a hold of this case, hold it, find an instance like they did with Roe that meets all of the heartstring criterias. If you end up putting a young girl in jail for taking the Plan B, or for getting some type of abortion within the state limits, through a pill at that point, probably, then that young girl gets drugged through the courts. And this is what they did with Roe. It started 2 to 3 years before Roe was decided. 2 justices died in that interim. 2 more were appointed. The fabric of the court, had Roe come to the court the year that the case was filed, would have been much different than it ended up being when they decided it. So I would just urge caution. I would urge, if you are pro-life and you don't want to see abortion being allowed the way that it was under Roe, if you are not even pro-life, but pro-federalism, and you want to say, okay, California can do abortions and Oklahoma can't, if that's what the electorate decides based upon the people that they elect, then I fear that this bill or this law that was just passed and signed by Governor Stitt is more to benefit him than to benefit that cause. Because now he can come out and claim, hey, I'm the most, pro-life governor in the country. My right flank will be mollified by that, and the people running against me will be mollified and blunted. So I just think it's something we should think about. It's something we should consider. And the legislature should, I hope, did their due diligence in the language of the bill, because when that law is challenged, and it will be challenged, you must understand that it will be challenged, and there could be a stronger form of Roe that comes out of it, more based not in just penumbra and shadows of penumbras like Roe was, which is the reason that it's probably being overturned now, but something that could be more based in the law and the way the Constitution is written. So again, whether you're pro-life or whether you're pro-life to an extent, or whether you're even pro-choice but pro-federalism, this should cause us all concern, and it should be looked at through objective eyes, even from the most pro-life stance, because the law in its most pure form, the way that if we're a government of laws and not of men, is not subject to your ideology. It's subject to facts. It's subject to what can be proved and disproved. It's subject, especially when you get to the Supreme Court level. They're going to look at this law, and we still probably will be contending with the undue harm. And I'm not a lawyer, okay? I just want to point that out. I want to make sure that's it. But I've seen the way that laws are crafted, and I'm a historian of sorts. I have advanced degrees, and the way that this law, the way that Roe was pushed along and changed and tested until it got to the Supreme Court is going to happen again. This will happen again. And the left won't be as flippant, I think, with the language. And if you get a left-leaning court, they will do everything that they can to root it in another portion of the Constitution that is harder to justify overturning, if that makes sense. So I hope that Oklahoma legislators did their due diligence this time. I hope this isn't just a political feint. And I hope that they understand the long-term implications of what it is that they're doing. That's not just for Oklahoma, not just for Governor Stitt, but for the entire country. And those are my thoughts on that. If you like any of the commentary I'm giving, the content I'm putting out, please like and subscribe on YouTube here and comment below. Let me know your thoughts. I just think all right. Thanks, guys. Bye. you.